Welcome back, everyone, to Florida Powerboat Club on YouTube, and we are back with more episodes from the Orange Beach Powerboat Week 2023 edition. Moving on into episode number 2 with feature coverage of the only event that we stage across the Florida state line in Alabama, and this event is presented by the WHARF. So before we get started, guys, let's thank our sponsors. Our presenting sponsor for the FPC 2023 series of events is Mercury Racing, celebrating 50 years of Wide Open. And by these sponsors in alphabetical order: Big Thunder Marine, Blackwater Boats, Cigarette Racing Team, Concept Boats, Deep Impact Custom Boats, WRIGHT Powerboats, Fountain Powerboats, Midnight Express Boats, Nortec High Performance Boats, Performance Boat Center, Plantation Boat Mart, SD Marine Group Isla Morada, and Statement Marine. In addition to those series sponsors, we'd like to thank once again our presenting sponsor, the WHARF of Orange Beach, Alabama, along with Alicomp, the Tops Texas Powerboat Club, Romix Chemicals, Unitech Paint and Auto Body, and WOZENCRAFT Insurance and Finance. And no better way to get started here in Orange Beach, Alabama than with the lovely Miss Sage, one of our Miss Powerboat Week contestants. We saw a little bit of her in the last episode, but remember, not only is Sage a contestant for the contest, she's also one of our FPC girls for the entire weekend. And spending a little time with our camera crew as they sit here and wait for the boats to arrive. We're at now checkpoint number 2, so let's get you guys up to speed. It's Friday morning, and the boats are pulling up to the home of Mr. Art Favre, who is essentially our host for the weekend. He's the owner of the WHARF, and that is our presenting sponsor. So allowing us to use the dock here as Frank Bolte pulls up with his 44-foot MTI Team Shark Rider, and he is going to take home that award again for the farthest traveled. He came all the way from France to join us for this event, and it's one that he has grown quite accustomed to. He loves it here in Orange Beach, Alabama, so he's done this event, I think, 3 years in a row now. This being our 4th annual event. Sage on the left, Lauren on the right, our card girls for this morning. Remember, we already did one card back at the WHARF earlier in the day. That was on our last episode. But now we're going to be doing this next card now as the lovely Michelle is the first mate for Gary Lickle here on this brand new MTI 390X model. Twin Mercury Racing 450Rs. And there's a team that's been around the club for a little while. We lost track of them for a few years. They used to do a lot of events in a 38-foot cigarette Top Gun. But Gary decided to jump on that cat bandwagon, and Team Special Ops is a brand new 390X with 450Rs. It looks like he doesn't like promoting Mercury Racing. He's actually taken the Mercury Racing logos off of his engine cowlings. Shame on you, Gary. And my reason for saying that, guys, is that we do receive tremendous support from Mercury Racing. And now joining Mike and Karen Stone from Texas in Team Skimming Stones. It's a 2006 38 Fountain LX model, a rare model. And why? Well, first of all, they don't build this model anymore, but I like it because it's kind of a cruiser. It's kind of a center console, but it still has a step bottom and it's still fast. So it really has multi-purpose, and it's a great poker run boat, a great cruising boat, and perhaps even a great fishing boat. Mike tells us he bought it in 2020, and he's been loving it ever since. And now catching up with Cliff and Melissa Anderson as Melissa reaches out for the poker card. Here's another team with an amazing attendance record. They've been doing as many events as they can. Here we're now at event number 5 of the 2023 season, and I believe that they have done every run so far since January. No, you're not seeing double. This is another 34 MTI. Stephen Miles and his first mate up on the deck picking up their poker card. Nice to see Stephen getting away from the shop and not painting the boat and breathing all those fumes this weekend. Instead, we're going to hang out in a bar and get drunk and have a good time. So nice to have Stephen joining us for this event. And anybody in this industry would know that name, but just to remind you guys, SMD, Stephen Miles Design, yes, they are one of the most popular painters of offshore powerboats and buses and airplanes across the nation. If you want it to look cool, well, you got to call Stephen. And nice to see the Garnetts joining us again, Ryan and Rachel Garnett, all the way from Texas in their 38-foot Mystic team into the Mystic. And A boat that we've seen around the club before. Even the prior owner did a few poker runs with us, but they seem to be having a lot of fun with this catamaran. And in fact, they've actually planned to do the Bahamas run with us, which will be just a month later in June, heading over from Fort Lauderdale to Bimini. And now time for a very colorful Outer Limits as Sage and Lauren are reaching out again to get that card to Keith Johnson and his crew, Team Whiskey Business. One of 3 Outer Limits registered for the event. This is a 2006 42-foot Outer Limits Legacy model. It's powered by triple Mercury 525s. Well, we just saw Cliff Anderson earlier. Now it's time for Mom and Dad, Roger and Pam Anderson from Texas in their Nortec 390 Sport Team Wild Horses. And I'm going to suggest to Pam in the future, don't hang your legs over the side. That's very dangerous because you got that old guy, Roger, driving. You know, you never know what he's going to do. If he hits the throttle by accident and goes into the dock, you're going to get more than a scratch on your legs. So just a rule that we have, everybody, you don't let your legs dangle when you pull up for your card. There you go. There's Lana. She's got it down. Mark and Lana Albert from Texas in their 35-foot fountain Team LICKALONAPUS. But you see, she's got it all figured out. She just kneels safely up on the front of the boat, reaches over for the card. And wow, the helicopter's arriving at the very same time. Going to be a lot of cool shots now coming out of this card handoff sequence. Still got a lot of cards to pick up as I see some boats milling around. But we are going to head offshore from this point, which is just maybe about a half a mile away to the inlet, to get out into the Gulf Coast waters for that run to Pensacola. And it's another fountain. This time it's a 42 for Clint Hayes all the way from Tennessee. Team Kiss the Paper. Looks like they're going to be kissing the poker card here in a minute as this lovely lady reaches out and gracefully grabs that lucky poker card. Check out this fountain though, guys. A 2000 model 42. It looks as new and as clean as it did when it was new 24 years ago. Think about that. And Clint happens to be so in love with the fountain brand, he's got another 42 Lightning that is being fully customized by Bar Marine at this time. So he plans to bring that to the next event, which is going to be Emerald Coast Powerboat Week in September. And it's another fountain, this time a 34-foot CC. Ricardo Chavez, one of our local teams. He's in the pool business here. He does pool grottos and all kinds of cool sculptural work and outdoor landscaping. Got a big company, but he's breaking away from work today so he can come and have fun with the Florida Powerboat Club. Got a couple of lovely ladies on board, and they are ready to roll with this new fountain. He's actually got 2 here registered for the run. The other 34 is one of our safety boats. And it's nice to see Kyle Horton and his crew return after joining us a previous year. This is a Formula 382 Fast Tech team. Strip it down, and it certainly is a classic formula at that. One of 3 that are registered, but you know, we just don't see these 382s around anymore, and particularly we don't see any this nice. It's such a great looking boat. Love the graphics, and nice to see Kyle back. And it's kind of a homecoming for Steve Rabelais here in this Sensation 40 CCX Team Haybay. And the reason I say that is that this boat actually used to belong to Scott Favre, and we're right here at his dad's house. So this boat has been docked at this house many times in the past. Scott had a lot of fun with this center console, but sold it recently so he could take possession of a new 42 MTI. Speaking of 42 MTIs, and the only 42 MTI registered for this poker run out of a total of 6 MTIs on the roster, Keith Rockman getting their card here as they pull up to the dock. A big step for Keith, as I mentioned in the last episode, from a 34 center up to this 42. It's an older 42 MTI, as you can tell by the power. He's got quad Mercury 350 Verados. And look at the 3 rows of seating. A lot of room on this boat for a big crew. And we're going to flash back to Thursday night now, guys. Round 2 of our Miss Orange Beach Powerboat Week, and a lovely crew of ladies here at this contest, which is taking place now at the Sandshaker Lounge, a bar that is here located at the WHARF. And I think it's an ideal venue because It's a really intimate venue. The stage is big enough for all the ladies to come out and do their show. And you can see we got the judges just nudged up closely so that they can do all their important work of judging the ladies. This is a fantastic event every year, no matter where we have it. But something about this little Sandshaker venue really worked out great as the beautiful Jasmine goes out for round one. Remember now, the format has not changed, and that's thanks to our contest coordinator, Miss Amber Contant, who not only arranges all the ladies and does all the recruiting, she's actually hiding behind that banner there with a microphone, and she's calling out all of the ladies as they come up to do their walk around in front of the judges. So she's also our MC for the evening. And I finally had to tell her to come out of her hiding spot, and she finally, you can see her there. She's now starting to come out from behind the banner. But this is a fantastic evening and very entertaining for all of us. And most importantly, I think it really gives these lovely ladies a chance to get out and take part in a very festive evening. And I think that, they're never really intimidated at this event because everyone is so nice. The fans are not just a bunch of guys slobbering drunks with their beer. They're, they might be drunks, but they're not slobbering at least. No, it's really a nice crew. You've got all of these people from the Powerboat Club here that appreciate this kind of fun entertainment and festive evening. And aside from getting some great photos and videos for their Instagram pages, they have a chance to win some serious money here. We've got $1,000 at stake that is shared between all of the winners. And aside from that, all of the ladies, just to show up, are getting paid just to be a part of the contest. Not to mention, of course, a lot of the ladies staying for the entire weekend and getting paid as FPC girls to be a part of this event. So it's always a fun ticket for these ladies. That's why we see a lot of familiar faces, because they always ask, hey, can we come back? Like lovely Lauren here. She did it the year earlier, and she's also done the Emerald Coast poker run. And she asked to come back. In fact, she traveled quite a distance all the way from Washington, D.C. She got a flight to come out and just be a part of this event for the weekend. So thanks to all of our lovely ladies. Let's enjoy the rest of the contest as we do round two, Black Bikini. Well, there's the lineup, guys. So with all the ladies on the stage, and we couldn't do this without the help of our sponsors, I'd like to thank our club members Paul Bertucci from Team Beer Money, as well as Chad Havens from Team Savage. Between the two of them, they provide us with the financial support to not only get all these lovely ladies to participate, but also give us the money for tonight's prize purse, which is $1,000. And fast forward back to Friday morning now as we get offshore with the Flight 1130 cigarette. Yours truly at the helm, enjoying these Mercury Racing 565s. And we've got a full crew on board today. My wife Jackie, my first mate, riding along, as well as a couple of the FPC girls. I believe that would be Lauren and Sage riding along. And we've even got our camera guy hanging on to his hat today as we get out here offshore and just have a nice ride. The seas have calmed down just a bit. We did have a rough ride in the early stages of the run. But of course, this 38-foot cigarette Top Gun, built for the rigors of offshore powerboating, and now the seas are laying down and we're having a great ride, picking up the speed a little as we get closer to the Pensacola Inlet, heading off to our lunch stop today at Pensacola Beach. The Mercury Racing 565s have been running fantastic, and this was actually part one of a big summer agenda plan for a summer tour. 8 events over 8 states and about 8,000 miles. This was event number 1 here at Alabama. And it's time once again for Jim Legere from Texas, Team Heart on. They're having a lot of fun on this event, and yes, indeed, there's a lot of history on this boat. It's a 50-foot outer limits with twin Mercury 1200s, and the heart on, well, it's the Queen of Hearts and the King of Hearts, so two playing cards that are painted on the deck of the boat. Love the graphics. If I didn't give Jim the Best Graphics Award for this event, and he certainly does deserve it, though, I think I might have given it to him the year earlier. 3 outer limits altogether registered. Another one similar in size, a 51, registered to Octavio. I just hope we can get the two of them running together. I think that would be a great video sequence. Jim and his crew, of course, from Texas, altogether close to 20 teams from the Tops Group, joining us again here in Orange Beach, Alabama. And now we get a chance to see this Formula 382 Fast Tech up at speed and running in these coastal waters. And once again, as I said earlier, these 382s are a timeless design. This is a boat that's been around since the late 80s, early 90s. Of course, they've had a few modifications to the hull, like the step bottom, but overall, it's a very similar design to what it was 30 years ago, and just a classic-styled offshore powerboat. And I do believe that this 382 was one of the last that was built at the Formula factory, so this is probably one day going to be a collector's item. And it's one more time with Ricardo Chavez and his crew, our local team, in this 34-foot fountain center console. And just to compare to the manufacturer rankings, altogether 5 fountains registered for this Orange Beach event. And if there's only going to be one Doug Wright registered for this event, I can pretty much assure you it's going to be Jack and Kay Stewart every year. This 32-foot Doug Wright is powered by Twin Mercury Racing 400s. They're not very far from home in Panama City Beach, a couple of hours down the road. So for them, it's an easy event to attend in their backyard. Just a couple hours down the highway, launch the boat at the ramp, and check in at the wharf, and they're good to go. That might explain why they've been here now 3 years in a row. Love the paint and graphics on this boat. In fact, I think I gave Jack the award for paint and graphics a year earlier. Now let's say hi to Team Beer Money, Paul Bertucci from Gulfport, Mississippi, who has come here on his own bottom, as he always does. It's only about a 1-hour ride to come over from Mississippi here to Orange Beach. And now a closer look at Devin Wozencraft and his 30-foot skater. It's a 2015 model, Twin Mercury Racing 300R outboards. I was there when he received those engines, and they launched the boat for the Mercury Racing 300R launch. It was in Sanibel Island. That was a few years back, and I got a chance to ride on this cat. It's the smallest cat on the run, but you're never going to see Devin at the back of the pack. In fact, he went offshore and in the rough swells ran this 30-foot skater all the way to the Pensacola Pass. But now, of course, we're running in these protected waters on this final leg, getting us closer to our lunch stop at Pensacola Beach. Well, as a sharp contrast to our last event at Tampa Bay, Rick Melstead is the solo statement entry with his 38-foot statement center console. The last event, I think we had 12 or 13 statements registered. And why is that? Well, because, of course, statement is right there in St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and they got a lot of their customers to come out and join us. This 38 is a one-off boat. There's no other one that looks quite like this, with the all-black Alcantara interior and the wild colors. And we're going to circle back now to finish off this card segment at the Favre residence in Orange Beach, Alabama. Kyle Fowler at the helm of this SMOKIN 420. Mom Lisa up front in the assuming the safe position on her knees to get up close to the dock and not fall off the front of the boat. But there is a little bit of fancy footwork to be done here, because you don't want to get any fiberglass on that concrete, because Mr. Favre will be very upset if we mess up his dock. And our FPC girls doing their job getting that card handed off. Kyle says they're really enjoying this cat. It's the very first one they've ever owned. He said for 5 years he's been wanting to get a catamaran, and finally decided this was the right choice. So congratulations to Kyle. And again, congratulations are due to Sean Porter for doing really just a stellar refit job on this 33-foot Deep Impact. His first mate, Michelle, she's going to get the card duty as she reaches up, and there you go. And I must compliment Michelle and her lovely crew members for those spectacular pink bikinis. And it looks like Sage and Lauren have got this mission down as they reach out now for yet another first mate. She's on Lloyd Thornton's 36-foot Concept, another team that came all the way from Texas, Team PACHANGA, not to be mixed up with the Pachanga, which is a Sea Ray model. Look at this cool Concept 36. Nice to see something different hanging on the transom. Those are Mercury 250 XS outboards. And it's one more time for Team A-MUSE-D. Mike and Melissa Muse in their 2022 37-foot cross cabin AXOPAR. Once again, cross cabin, appropriate name for this model of boat. Lots of room outside, lots of room inside in that cabin, which also has air conditioning. Powered by twin Mercury Racing 350s. That's how the boat comes from the factory. You want to have 400s or 450s? Well, you got to figure that one out on your own with your dealer. I want to call Daryl Turner the leader of the pack. Well, at least he was at one time the president of the Tops Club, but Daryl Turner is a guy I met probably 25 years ago when I went to my first Tops poker run in Clear Lake, Texas, and he's still at it after all these years. For many years, he had a fountain, then he turned it into a big 4-engine Nortec, but I got to tell you, this rum runner with a bow thruster has cool written all over it. And now what we call this is a cockpit close-up of Kenny Milstead and his crew, another team all the way from Texas, Team Easy Money. This is what I love about the poker card segment because, you know, we get a chance to see the boats from the helicopter running fast, but it's the poker card handoffs where we really get a chance to see the crew up close and get all the excitement and kind of pick up the spirit of all the teams as they're having fun on these poker runs. And now one more time with James Legier and his crew, also from Texas. Team Hard On is a 51 Outer Limits, and a boat, as I said earlier, that has some unique graphics on board, especially the Queen and the King of Hearts cards, which are painted right on the deck. And now saying hi to Connie Fammy as she's up front getting ready to grab that poker card. Husband John at the helm of this Sensation 34 CCX, and I can't help thinking that John's probably checking out all these big Outer Limits and saying, oh, I remember when, because their last boat was a 42 Outer Limits Legacy. So moving to the center console was a big change for their boating lifestyle, but one that was well worth it. And now it's time for the Beer Money crew to come on up and get their next poker card. Paul Bertucci from Gulfport, Mississippi. Again, our sponsor for the Miss Powerboat Week on Thursday evening. He's always got a fun crew on board and a team that's so dialed in with the lines and the fenders that Paul rarely ever has to leave the helm. Paul has become very popular around this event. In fact, I know that all the FPC girls love riding on board this big Deep Impact 399. And here's another one of our local teams, Wes Harlow from Pensacola area with his 35-foot DCB in too deep. It's powered by Mercury Racing 700s. And there you go, the lucky card, and away they go now. That's card number 2, just to remind everybody, altogether going to be getting 5 cards, which they'll play out at the Saturday night poker run party at the Wharf. And it's another team from Texas, Jeff and Lisa Trimble in this 32-foot skater team, MAVRIK. Not their first time here at the Orange Beach event. They've joined us before. And I just got to say that this 32 skater is just one spectacular looking ride. Got some big power, always maintained and running great. Love the paint and graphics. And I know that today they're going to be going offshore for a rough ride in the Gulf waters. Let's say hi once again now to Charles and Jody Clark, and we be trippin'. 36-foot Deep Impact, powered by triple Mercury 350 Verados. I want to say with that Ferrari red hull and the tan interior, kind of got a Ferrari thing going on. And for our last team up to the dock, it's Vince Otto with his 38-foot cigarette Top Gun Team Loaded Gun. Making it a family weekend, usually has first mate Rachel riding along, but I believe it's his son and his daughter that are riding and being his crew today on the cigarette. Well, that wraps up our card segment here on Friday morning. Special thanks to Mr. Art Favre for loaning us his beautiful home and dock for the checkpoint. And just a quick shot here now of Octavio Valdivia with his 51-foot outer limits. So that's the one of the 3 that are registered for this event. Now as we turn and head towards the Perdido Pass, riding along now we have Sage and Lauren in the back seat of the Flight 1130. And Miss Jackie, my first mate, as well as our video cameraman Walt that are going to ride along today. We're going offshore out into the Perdido Pass and then the Gulf Coast waters. I know it's going to be a little bumpy, but the cigarette was made for the mission. And we're going to spend some more time in the air now as we feature our teams heading eastbound to Pensacola Beach. Looks like we're on the intracoastal segment right now. Remember that our helicopter shared some time offshore and then came back into the protected waters as we catch up with Kyle Fowler running this Wright Performance 420 Cat. And one thing I want to mention about Kyle, he said in his video bio that this is one of 4 42s that are all carbon fiber layup. He says he's been very impressed with the ride, and you know, this being his first event, he's got plenty more ahead in the summer months to get dialed in with the new Cat. Of course, I asked him about the fountain. Where did that go? He says, well, I'm going to hang on to the 38 fountain for a little while, Stu. Not in a big hurry to sell it. Well, you know, if you can, why not keep them both, right? And we did mention before that we do have a lot of teams from Texas, but we also have a lot of teams from Georgia. John and Connie Fammy are among them, and their 34 Sensation CCX spends most of its time here in Mary Esther, Florida. They do have a vacation home here, and clearly this is a great location for a wonderful boating lifestyle, and John and Connie seem to be enjoying it immensely. And now catching up with Mark and Lana Albert on the right in their 35-foot fountain. In their video bio, they mentioned that they spent 4 months rebuilding the motors. They added some Whipple blowers, and they finished on Wednesday morning just in time to haul the boat to Orange Beach on Thursday. Talk about cutting it close. And for those of you who are paying attention, yes, indeed, the team name is LICKALONAPUS. And one reason why Mark says he can never sell the boat, he says, well, because it's named after his wife. And we just saw Vince Otto and his family pulling up to the dock for their poker card. Now it's time to enjoy some fun with this cigarette up on plane, running in these protected intracoastal waterways as we head closer to the lunch stop at Pensacola Beach. Along with being at the helm of this 38 Top Gun, Vince also was at the helm of the Tops Club for some time, and we remember that we made him a special award a year earlier when we gave Tops a presentation and honored Vince as the outgoing president of the Tops Club. And I would say that this team, Charles and Jody Clark, are certainly contenders for both the most spirited team, but in my opinion, they also qualify for a Membership Appreciation Award, because look at them, all 10 of them wearing their life jackets here on this center console today as they ride on these intracoastal waters, and I got to commend you guys. The life jackets are a big part of what we do. It's part of our safety guidelines, and it's just a part of smart and responsible boating. So thumbs up to this crew on We Be Trippin'. And a very special welcome to Scott Favre, who's been a big part of this event right from the get-go. Scott always told me how the WHARF would be a great place for a poker run venue, and here we are, fast forward to our 4th annual event. Scott's running a Wright Performance 36 today that was loaned to him by Performance Boat Center. He's got a 42 MTI on order. It's not quite ready yet, but the guys at Performance Boat Center hooked him up for the weekend. And now sliding over to Chris and Beth Giroux in this 38-foot fountain. Big power with these Mercury Racing 700s in the step bottom. He's not really going to have any trouble maintaining the speeds to keep up with Scott in the outboard Cat. Chris and Beth not far from home in Louisiana, neighboring state, but big supporters of this event. I think they've been here almost every year since it began 4 years earlier. And here's that big concept 4400, awesome one, and that belongs to Octavio and Karen Valdivia. Well, we all know that Octavio's on his 51 outer limits now. We just saw him earlier, and that means his buddy Robbie Eula is driving this concept 4400. He's got a bunch of people on board today, and this is the kind of boat you need to have if you got a lot of friends. And you know, Octavio and Karen have made a lot of friends on these poker runs over the years. They're from Georgia, but they also have a vacation home here in Pensacola, so they do a lot of boating on these waterways. Special thanks to Octavio for sponsoring our captain's meeting on Friday morning. His company, Unitech Paint and Auto Body, is in Georgia, and more recently he did a bunch of work for me, repainted Jackie's 56 T-Bird, and did a fantastic job. And it's one more time with Lloyd Thornton, another one of our TOPS members who joined us all the way from Texas with this 36-foot concept. This is a boat you might likely see more often in South Florida. A very popular boat that was built in Miami for many, many years. The 36 is one of the top models for concept. Of course, now mostly we see the 4400 model on a lot of our poker runs, but nice to see this 36 still out having fun and proving that you don't have to have an $800,000 center console to go out and enjoy a Florida Powerboat Club poker run. Nice to see Lloyd and his crew here. I think I met Lloyd more than 20 years ago at a Texas poker run. And finally, we have now arrived at Pensacola Beach, and we've got plenty of docking for the entire crew. Special thanks to the boardwalk because they have now got all of their docks rebuilt. But we have 2 or 3 different locations where people can tie up here. With Team Beer Money is tied up at the dock out in front of Flounders Chowder House. Then the main docks in front of the Pensacola boardwalk have all been fixed now after being damaged in a recent hurricane a few years back. We also have the docks in front of Felix's Oyster House. So between the 3 locations and the nice sandy bottom, there's plenty of places to tie up. And here's a closer look at Octavio's 51-foot Outer Limits Team Blue Bayou. Yes, indeed, the motors are Mercury Blue. Those are Mercury Racing 700s with blowers and headers and all the nice hardware. And there's his sister ship, of course, the Concept with the Quad 350s. And Miss Jackie, along with Lauren and Sage, getting ready for the lunch stop here at Flounders Chowder House. We've got the Top Gun settled in, and it looks like we've got the cameras out and the bikinis on. So guys, let's not waste any time, and let's have some fun with Lauren and Sage because their duties are done for the time being. They finished doing the poker cards earlier, so let's get some nice photos for the FPC magazine and for you guys back at home as we enjoy this beautiful May weekend in Pensacola Beach on the Orange Beach Powerboat Week, 4th edition here for 2023. Well, I think that was a nice way to kick off our lunch session here at Flounders Chowder House. Remember, there's another location at Felix's. We've got Jalen and Jasmine here greeting our guests with poker card number 3 as we get inside and get settled in for a fantastic lunch. Well, guys, we've been having so much fun with this episode number 2. We went way past the 30-minute mark, and that means there's still more fun coming just around the corner with episode number 3. So we are going to sign off here from the FPC studios, getting ready for episode 3 and 4 with feature coverage of the 2023 edition of the Orange Beach Powerboat Week presented by the WHARF. We've still got plenty more offshore excitement. We've got some more ladies with the Miss Powerboat Week contest, and we've got another entire run scheduled for Saturday. So guys, be sure to stay tuned by clicking that subscribe button and make sure you click the notification bell so you get an update every time a new episode is released. Be sure to check out the website at flpowerboat.com for all of the details about upcoming poker run events in 2021, as well as membership information. You can follow us on Facebook at Florida Powerboat Club, and you can follow us on Twitter and on these Instagram pages. Thanks to all of our viewers for your wonderful comments on our page, and you guys know who you are, and I really do appreciate that. But if you have questions or comments you want to direct to me specifically, please use my personal email at stu@flpowerboat.com. I check that daily, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. We're going to sign off for now. This is Stu Jones along with our producer Ryan McCoy in the Pompano Beach studio. Have fun out there, guys. Be safe on the waterways. Wear your life jackets when the time is right, and always respect your fellow boaters. Bye for now.